It's Georg Oehme from the Real Asset Tokenization factory. Sorry, Georg. And he will speaking about exactly that, tokenizing real assets. Right away. Stage is yours.
Okay, perfect. Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for the introduction. Pleasure to be here today. So I don't know if you have ever heard about the tokenization of a yacht. If not, then just stay calm for the next couple of minutes and I will tell you a bit more. But before, I would like to start to give you a brief introduction about our real asset token and our red factory. The sharing economy, especially in the last couple of years, has led to a lot of discussion about ownership of an asset, the pro and the contra of owning an asset. You know, starting from the positive perspective, owning an asset gives you the possibility to build up wealth and increase your private wealth balance, so you're building up wealth. At the same side, it gives you the possibility to have a security in place because you can either own the asset, you can use the asset, or you can, generate income by renting it out or getting a loan from a bank. At the same time as well, owning an asset gives you the possibility to be independent. So, for example, you're living in your own apartment, you are not depending on any decision from the landlord. But at the same time as well, there are limitations in respect of the ownership. If you keep in mind the development of the real estate prices in the last couple of years, the size of an asset gets bigger and bigger. It's difficult for people to buy an ownership of an asset. At the same time as well, now especially if you look at the last couple of months, the inflation, led to the situation that the prices have increased a lot. And owning an asset, there's always a risk element involved. On the one side, there's the risk element involved that you have to make sure that the asset is in good standing. You are responsible for the maintenance. You have to add liquidity in order to keep the asset in a good standing, and it requires effort. In Germany, we say Eigentum verpflichtet. So you are responsible, let's say, to make sure that the asset is in good condition. If there are any problems, you have to take care. And with our real asset token factory, we want to go around these kind of limitations. And as a first step is the fractionalization and the tokenization of real assets. What does it mean with fractionalization? We want to divide the ownership of the asset in smaller tickets, want to target a wider target group. And the second element is the tokenization, the digital representation of the ownership rights in order to make these assets easier from an acquisition perspective, to share them or to make them transferable. That's the first phase. And in the second phase now, with our real asset token, we are adding the element of the usage element. So we are focusing on these kind of assets which you want to acquire, which you want to buy, where you want to buy a fraction, but you don't want to buy the fraction because you want to make a return out of it. You don't want to make a profit. You don't want to make a gain from the sale. The intention is to use the asset. And this is exactly what is behind the real asset token approach, to combine the ownership with a usage element. That could be, for example, you have the possibility to own an asset on a monthly basis, a weekly basis, or on a daily basis. It really depends on the asset. And this is a bit what makes us different from other tokenization projects at the moment at the market. Most of the tokenization projects are focusing on buying a fraction of an asset in order to generate a profit, such as, it can be expensive classic cars, it can be real estate, or, you buy expensive watches, whatever. But you never buy the usage experience, you just buy the expectation that maybe from an apartment you're getting rental income, or that the price of the classic car will be increased and then you benefit from the capital gain. And with our real asset token, our red factory approach, we, however, focusing on the one side on the fractional ownership, as you see on the slides, but at the same time as well, the usage element is very important. And the focus for us is at the moment on these kind of assets with a high value. And in order to implement such a real asset token approach, you need three different pillars. The first part is the factory side, which I just explained to you, creating fractional ownership, developing of a usage concept, and then to digitally represent the ownership and the usage rights. The second stage, what you see in the middle of the slide, is the role of a validator. what is behind or what is the reason of the role of a validator, you have to make sure that the real world and the digital world is combined in somehow. So you need someone who takes care of the, let's say, token owners, who are the fractional owners of the asset, speaking about the way how to make sure that the usage rights are implemented in the correct way, the voting rights, or even just to make sure that the annual contribution for the maintenance is being handled. And then you have the real asset side, the asset management perspective of the asset, to make sure that the asset is kept in good standing, and that's the role of the validator. And the third pillar is the marketplace, because now, since the ownership rights and the usage rights are digitally represented by a token, they become fungible, and they can be now, on the one side, used by the owner. It can be, swapped with other owners for the same asset, or even, for example, rented out or chartered out to generate some income. And after now a bit of the theoretical introduction, I want to explain a bit more about our business models we want to implement, are already implementing with our Real Asset Token Factory. The first one is Yachting One. I will go on this topic a bit more detail in a couple of seconds. And developing business case we are working at the moment is our holiday token approach, where we give the possibility to people to buy a fraction of a villa, a summer residence, winter residence, and at the same time as well, they have a guaranteed usage right for their preferred time in August or preferred time in spring. It really depends. And then there is, without going in so much detail, an upcoming case, which is a bit outside of the luxury world. It's our living property token. It's a new way how you have the possibility as a user, as a tenant of an apartment, to become, on a step-by-step approach, owner of this apartment where you're living in. So at the moment, most of the time, when you want to become an owner of an apartment, you go to a bank, you get a loan, you buy the apartment, and to pay the mortgage back to the bank. In this case, the idea is to buy on a step-by-step approach, tokenized co-ownership or the ownership rights of the apartment directly from the landlord. But now, let's say, step into the interesting part, the Yachting One project. With Yachting One, we have created a tokenized yacht owner weeks concept. What is behind yacht owner weeks? With yacht owner weeks, we're focusing on the best 20 weeks of a yacht between April and October. Each week is representing 5% ownership of the yacht, plus the guaranteed usage right for the preferred calendar week. It could be for someone the first week in May, for someone else the second week in July, or the third week in August. And at the same time as well, you also have the usage right to use the yacht outside these 20 weeks. And this is our first yacht, this beautiful yacht Felicitatem from the Dutch shipyard in Netherlands. It's a 20-meter yacht which will be based next year in Mallorca. Now these slides look a bit different than they should be. But anyway, you see the three main topics behind the concept of Yachting One, which is based on co-ownership, time sharing, and combined it now with the tokenization element. So co-ownership, I already explained, you get 5% ownership of the yacht, and the guaranteed usage rights to use the yacht in a particular calendar week. That's the time sharing aspect. And with the tokenization, with the digital representation, we represent the ownership rights and usage rights to make them more fungible. Okay, that looks interesting again. At least you see the headlines. So Yachting One, our approach is to have an easy in, easy going, and easy out approach. What does it mean? If you keep in mind how the acquisition process of a yacht is at the moment, it's a very challenging aspect. You have to get in a lawyer who takes care of the legal work. You need to get a surveyor who takes care from the technical side. You need someone who set up a company. So the whole process of acquiring a yacht is not what you usually would think about if you enjoy the lifestyle on board of a yacht. So with the tokenization of the ownership rights, now it's become a fast way to become an owner. Once the KYC process is completed and you have the token, you are the actual owner of the yacht. With the easygoing approach, which is a bit the role of the validator, which I explained a couple of slides before, here the aspect is that the whole yacht management, the whole crew management, the day-to-day operation, everything is being handled by Yachting One, so that the owners just need to go on board and enjoy their yacht. And there's only one payment per year needed to cover the operation costs, because from my experience in the yachting world, owners don't like to do a lot of payments. So if there's only one payment per year, they're much more in favor of this. And with Easy Out, the idea behind Easy Out is that we are created a yachting product. So, and in order to create a product, you need to give the people an exit strategy, because otherwise they are afraid that they have to own their yacht owner weeks for the whole lifetime, or maybe they have not the possibility to sell it out in the future. And that's why in our concept and for our yacht, our product is based on a 5 years period. So it's pre-agreed from before that after 5 years, the yacht will be sold in total. And then all the owners, since they are really the owners of the yacht, participating on the resale price as well. And this shows the advantages of Yachting One and of our yacht owner weeks, because it's an easy way to own a yacht. You just you can easily own the yacht, but you only pay for the use. You don't pay for the unused time. There is, it looks a bit different, the slides. The owners, since we're taking care of all the day-to-day administration, they can just, enjoy the pleasure on board of the yacht with a minimal effort. All the costs will be divided between all the owners. So even from a, let's say, if you would look at from a financial perspective, since they are now only pay for the 2-3 weeks per year, they don't have to pay for the other 48 weeks where they are not using the boat. And with the tokenization, now we create a flexibility, because owners can use the yacht for themselves, they can share it with family and friends, they can swap with other owners, and once the fleet is in place as well, they can all have also the possibility to swap the usage rights with other yachts in other jurisdictions. Okay, very good. Now the slides look good again. So just to summarize about Yachting One. So Yachting One combines the advantages of the different models how you can own a yacht at the moment, such as sole ownership, co-ownership, or chartering. So with Yachting One, you are the real owner of a yacht. Like if you are the sole owner, you have a secured usage time, same as if you would own the yacht for yourself. But then you don't have any hassle of management, so you don't have to worry about this. And you don't have to pay for the unused time, similar to the role of a charter guest. The acquisition price is attractive if you would compare it with this yacht, if you would buy it for, let's say, in total, because this yacht would cost you 4 million euros new. In our case, a week in May starts from 180,000 euros and goes up to yacht owner week in July, August of 300,000 euros. And the annual usage costs are in the area of 30 to 35,000 euros to cover the cost for that week. And really important, and that's a big difference from the time-sharing industry, especially happening in the US, from the, let's say, pleasure holiday market. Owners are really benefiting from the resellers way, because they are actually the owner, not Yachting One is the owner. So thank you very much for your time. We have a very open approach, so if you have any questions, please let us know, or even if you want to discuss any other particular type of assets where our real asset token approach would fit perfectly, just let us know. Thank you.
Perfect. Georg, thank you very much. I'd take the opportunity to hand out microphones if you guys have questions. Otherwise, the man in my ear will tell me if there's questions in the Telegram group. But in the meantime, I want to thank you. Yeah, I mean, the slide thing, I think you get the chance to like send. We will distribute updated slides if you want to, and then yeah. Something very memorable, at least, right? All right. There's one question in the audience.
Thank you. Can you maybe go a little bit back to what is the difference between I rent a yacht and I have such a co-ownership where, in fact, I also just have 1 week, but somehow fixed on a boat? What is the big advantage for me if, in the end, I also have 1 week of holiday?
All right. No, that's a very good question and a very common question. The point is, owning, let's say, the yachting industry speaks about the lifestyle element. You know, you want to own something. It's the the sharing economy to bring you from A to B with a car or with an electronic bike, it's, you just want to use it, you don't want it to be the owner. Yachting, however, people like to say, when they're playing golf and so on, it's my yacht. At the same time as well, we have presented our Yachting One product 2 weeks ago at the Monaco Yacht Show. And when you speak to all the charter brokers over there, if you want to get a good yacht for 2023 to charter it, it's already too late. So now you speak about 2024, 2025. So there is a huge demand at the moment. And with our Yachting One concept, you have the guarantee that you can use the yacht. You get a high quality yacht with. It's also a question about the privacy element as well. You have always the same crew, and this is what people makes more interesting. Plus, the charter market, as I said, there's a flexibility, but only in the theory, because most of the good yachts are already chartered out.
I have a question, actually. Looking a little bit into the future and thinking a little bit about applications like decentralized finance, how are you at Real Asset Tokenization preparing for a potential usage of a yacht token as a collateral for a loan or anything? Have you got that thought on your roadmap already?
Let's say that's a very good point. We're looking at more, let's say, from the yachting perspective, even if you would keep in mind the NFT element as a membership program, that's for sure. Using a yacht as a collateral is a challenging part, because usually a yacht loses in value. It's not like a classic car where usually the value goes up. So that's a bit what makes it different, because if you have a couple of owners, some of them, they just have to, or all of our owners have to pay it in cash. The yacht will be free of any mortgage. So that's usually the approach what owners like, especially when we speak about their toys.
All right, I think the same goes for cars as well. Like in theory, like a depreciating asset is not always the best collateral. But, yeah, okay, thank you very much.